Hello, I am Kristine McGlinchey-Yap. Thank you so much for joining the Moments of Clarity conversation series. Today, I am joined by Gaby Guzman. She is a business coach and the Madrina of a beautiful community here in Miami, Las Comadres. Hello, Gaby.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you so much for taking time to be here. I really appreciate it. And so Gaby and I met through a mutual friend. At the time, I think I was like 5 months pregnant.
Yeah.
And when I found the community, I was really, I was working corporate PR at the time, but I really was interested in going into entrepreneurship. And Las Comadres just seems like the perfect community to be in because it's scary, for entrepreneurs to make a leap from like having a corporate job into doing your own thing. And I had never run or managed my own business, so I really wanted to take the time to learn from people like you who were in that space and doing it already. And what I think I found was like so much more than like I intended finding in Las Comadres. Like I made like beautiful lifelong friends and partners. And at the time, I couldn't really participate in like all of the events, when we're outside in the outside world having events.
Those days.
The good old days.
Yes.
I couldn't do a lot of that stuff because I was pregnant, but I was just so inspired. Like I would just watch and listen to what everyone was doing, like just all of the creativity. And it was just such a culmination of like strong, powerful women who were so vulnerable and like really no one held back no matter what you needed. And this is like life, if you needed like life, dating, like motherhood advice, it was like so much more than like business. And for me that really like ignited something, like because often we have like that imposter syndrome where like, oh, how am I ever going to be an entrepreneur? And just like seeing and being in community with all of these women who were just like creating such beautiful things and having you at the forefront of that to do like programming and like taking your time to do business coaching with people and like sharing all of your wisdom. It was such an invaluable like experience. And I think all women were all taught to like compete with each other. And especially here in Miami, it's very much like you're isolated. It's like you have to rise to the top by yourself. And we grow up thinking like we have to compete against each other and all of that stuff. So it was nice actually seeing like women coming together and like really building and supporting each other. Like people were giving away their services for free, like taking time to like do one-on-one calls. So it was really, really powerful. And it really showed me like what happens when women come together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because I think like most of my life growing up, I was intimidated like to be in community with other women because it was all of that like, what if they don't like me? Well, what if I'm not good enough for them? I'm not one of the cool kids or the popular kids, it like, and being in that situation kind of like brought those triggers up too. Like, well, if I post, like, will they accept me? Like all the silly things that we do. So it was just really a beautiful experience. Like I met my accountant, I met a lot of the women who are on this series.
Yeah.
Like that have really like inspired and like elevated. Like I went from like 0 to 100 in Las Comadres, really. So if you want to like talk a little more about Las Comadres and the impact that you've seen too.
Yeah, I mean, I think you touched on so many important pieces, and I think at the core of it, I think that what I hope that this community is doing is not only inviting women to step into a different kind of leadership, but to start by trusting each other, which seems like a revolutionary concept, right? Because I do think that a lot of us in our society are raised in a patriarchal space where we are taught that there is only a limited amount of good things for women. And so we have to fight each other for it. So there are only a limited amount of good partners, and there's a limited amount of money, and there's a limited amount of job opportunities, and there's a limited amount of women who can really succeed as entrepreneurs. And so we're indoctrinated into this falsehood, and then we find ourselves competing with each other because of this lie. And it's like we get to kind of take a step back and question like, who said there's a limited amount? Like, there's unlimited for all of us. And actually, as women, our natural state is to be in community and in support of one another. And it's a tall order sometimes, as you said, to introduce that concept to grown women who have been weary of trusting other women for an entire life. But the moment that you allow yourself to go there, you allow yourself to be vulnerable, and you allow yourself to show up as you truly are, inevitably what happens is you invite everybody else to do the same thing. And now we're all in it with that same intention of honesty and connection and trust and true support. And the environment that you are describing inevitably happens.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was so beautiful, honestly, the way that, women, and like you said, like we're almost going back to where we were, like somehow along the way, society told us, no, don't support each other, like go against each other, compete against each other, because it did seem like we're almost coming from like a lack or like a survival mentality where
Yeah.
it's like there's not enough to go around. And, even with me building my business, I saw that. I was like, well, is there really space for me here? Like this person's already doing this and this person's already doing this. So like, where do I fit in? And I kind of like, through the community and seeing like what everyone else was doing, I learned like, no, like there's enough people on this world, like for us to help and like light up with our own individual talents. And it was a really like big like learning process of that for me, like the unlearning of, oh well, I don't have to compete against you for clients, like we can
Yeah.
work together and like mutually have clients.
Yes, that's one of my favorite things that happens in the community is how people that are in the same industry and do the same thing
Yeah.
collaborate and support each other and send each other clients because they realize like, oh, you know what, like you're going to work better with this person. And actually I met somebody else who happens to live in like a whole other country who would be great for you, like trusting that abundance in
Yeah.
that process. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really nice, and I really enjoyed, from the events that I was able to go to. Like nothing was off the table. Like it
Yeah.
was literally everything, and it felt good. Like you didn't feel like you were being judged, because there's a range of people. There's accountants, there's the yoga people, like health and wellness professionals, like lawyers, like whatever industry, like you name it. So it's a very inclusive and diverse community, which is rare to find, especially like being in South Florida. Well,
Yeah.
we're not here, but
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely intentional, and I think that even in the last few months, we've decided we've done what we can to go even the extra mile to not only have that diversity of kind of industries and professions, but also a diversity of like women from different races and different backgrounds, and trans women, cisgender women, like really be explicit about our intention that they are welcome here. That if they see what we're about and they are digging it and they identify with womanhood, that they have a place in our community.
yeah, no, it's really beautiful, and I think it's so needed because, especially like as women, being taught to to do one thing and then going against that, it feels really icky and hard, doing it alone. But just when you're in community doing it and you just feel so much power and so much energy and resilience, and you feel that inspiration, you feel that push to go an extra step further because people are like supporting you and you don't have to do it alone. And I think that was a very important feeling for me of like, okay, I'm not alone. Like I'm not crazy because I want to leave a corporate job and like start something new doing God knows what. Like
Yeah.
it was really like the deciding factor of like I can do this because all of these women are doing it and they're here like living in their truth, so like I can live in my truth.
Yes. Yeah.
And so for the future of Las Comadres, what do you envision, and what are you guys currently programming and like doing now?
Well, it's interesting because with COVID-19 and everything that has happened, our community transitioned online. And I was honestly shocked at how seamlessly that happened and how easily it happened. But it did. And it was actually a really powerful moment, I think, also for it to happen in the way that it did, because it was a moment where everybody felt like, oh my God, I really need my people right now. Like, I really need community right now. And so we find that even in the online events, more people are participating because it's a lot easier to say, you know, to your partner, hey, grab the baby. I'm going to sit here for an hour, than having to, you know, set up a babysitter and get dressed and traffic and the whole nine that it used to be to go to a physical event. So in bringing our community online, it's become a global community. And so now we have people in Europe, people on the West Coast, so people in Mexico. So there's people kind of all over the place that are in the community. And really our intention is to just continue on this mission, and really having more women understand that they can trust each other, that they can be in community with each other, and having them step into a new kind of leadership that is really grounded in the sacred feminine, grounded in anti-racism, grounded in all of these, like all of the principles of the ways that we would love to create the perfect environment for our lives, for our businesses, for our work, that we can actually create that ourselves. So having our community just continue to push that forward and to bring that to the forefront.
Yeah.
That's our mission.
Oh, so beautiful and so needed. For you, like growing this platform, what do you think? Because you share like so vulnerably, like too, like your journey, like how you're constantly shifting and evolving your business. Through all of this, like what do you think has been like the most powerful shift for you?
I mean, I think definitely this shift of moving online, because it just expanded our world, and from a kind of like a coming from a business standpoint, like we had this intention of, oh, like the thing that makes Comadres special is this local sort of like I get to hug you kind of events. And while that was really special, um, it wasn't really what was at the core of what makes it special. It was just actually like what we've been talking about. And that is something that we get to share with everyone everywhere. And so that sort of just expansion from that perspective to say, you know what, this isn't just a local community. This is something that's important for self-identifying women everywhere. And we are going to be on the task of bringing this message to women everywhere, and just really expanding our awareness and our possibilities, I think has been something that like I tend to struggle with, because I'm like, but I'm really comfortable here. Like we get to be really big. So and so I have a co-founder, Jamie, who like she dreams really big and it comes really easy to her. And so I let her just be the one to be like, Gabby, over here. Like, come on, the train is moving.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's really important. And I mean, that's a beautiful thing when you can, I mean, through everything that the last few months have taught us, it is very much that, you know, we could show up for each other in so many different ways, and like maybe ways that we should have been before. Like I was
Yes.
always kind of like, oh, technology is like separating us. But then like we really saw the powerful impact of like, no, actually, it actually brings us all like together in such a powerful way that it wasn't doing before. Um,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, my God, what would be of us right now without technology bringing us together? I can't even imagine.
I know. So it's great that, you know, like a space. And I really feel like the power in Las Comadres is like the women, the sharing, like, you know, the camaraderie, like all of that. Like it's really like that powerful tool. I know you kind of miss something like being in person with someone, you know, like that face, the human connection. But even online, it's just such a magical experience, you know,
I've
when
been shocked at how when you God, to me, like everything in life is about intention.
you,
And so when you set the intention for intimacy and connection, that's what you get no matter where you are. And
yeah.
we've added a few things to kind of make this easier. So we have this tool now that we send twice a month to the community, that they get to opt in to be matched, randomly matched with someone else in the community, so they can set up a 30-minute chat, and you never get matched with the same person twice. And it's just this kind of really cool this really cool added tool to facilitate the connections that used to be happening in person. But truly, I think like it's really the power of connection, because once you set that connection, then you start getting ideas and you start getting creative as to what can fulfill your intention. And you also share your intention with others who then give you ideas or like start their own ideas. There's like a really one thing that's happened in the community recently is there are these group of women who are, it's kind of been like an unexpected side effect of COVID, but there's a number of women who are in the middle of getting a divorce. So it's a difficult situation, but like I feel like there's some people that were probably, I mean, as someone who was divorced myself, there's some people that are probably like on the way there, and to find yourself spending so much time with your partner when that is the path that you were already on, um, that has come to fruition for several women in the community, and they've now formed like a subgroup, and they meet regularly, and they're supporting each other through it, and that's the kind of magic that starts to happen, like because they know that that space will hold it, you know, that they know that that community will be supportive and open to it, and you know, the people that you least expected it were going through that, so now they have people to talk to, and they have a little community of people that will understand exactly what they're going through.
Right. And I think the powerful reminder in Las Comadres is that, like, we're taught, like, you have to go through everything alone. You have to suffer in silence. Like, you can't let people in. You know, you have to be a strong woman. Like, you have to do everything all by yourself. Like, you have to be the mom, be the partner, be the businesswoman.
Yeah,
And I think what's so great is that this proves, like, you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to have it all figured out. Like, it takes a village, and this is your village.
absolutely. That, like, I couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, and it's just such a beautiful thing. And I know you do you still have your board ritual happening?
Yes, 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 yes.
So
So yeah.
go ahead. No.
No, no, no. It's actually we recently changed the name, so I realized that the board ritual wasn't as descriptive as I wanted it to be. So now it's the intuitive business ritual, which will be relaunched soon. But it is more in line with what the actual experience is. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah. And ritual is so important, like especially when you're setting up a business and like, you've found your formula and like
Yeah.
what works. And I've discovered that yeah, you have to have like a set structure and guidelines, especially like when you're building something. So if you want to just talk about a little bit about your process and like the exciting new relaunch.
Absolutely. I mean, really the intuitive business ritual is a culmination of all of my best, all of the sort of the things that I would always share with my one-on-one clients, with my masterminders, in terms of how to take on the different pieces of their life and of their business. And one thing that's been especially one thing that's been present really in everything that I do, so from Comadres to the board ritual, is that, and it's because it's very core to who I am, it is a combination of the sort of strategic planning, analytical side with the intuitive, magic, soul work side. Because for me, those two aren't irrespective of each other, and I feel like I hit my stride in my life and in my business when I realized that those two could like go together and blend well. And so the moment that I invited my intuition into my business, the moment that I started doing rituals around what I wanted to create for my business, the moment that I started manifesting money through what I had learned through soul work, like all of that just really gave me not only allowed for my business to grow, but it gave me a sense of inner peace and confidence and inner trust with everything that I was doing in my business. And so that is the process that you get walked through when you jump into the intuitive business ritual. It's really just a full experience of what an intuitive business plan would look like. So everything from how are you going to tell your story on social media, to how you're going to define how much money you're going to make this year, to how do you set your big visions for the year and your big goals every quarter. Like really your strategic planning, all fueled by a creative and intuitive process.
Oh, that's so amazing. That is so amazing. And it's true. People often think like, okay, I have my like spiritual practice here in this bucket, and then I have my business here in this bucket. And it really does go like so well hand in hand. Like when you
Yes,
start operating from a place of like mind, body, and spirit, like you're
100%.
so connected, it just all flows from there for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So very exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good
And
things coming.
yeah. Um, so I just want to thank you again for the community. I think for me, it was just so eye-opening, and it was really like that bridge and that support that I needed to, jump into entrepreneurship and like pave the way for my motherhood journey like ahead, because I had like so many wounds surrounding like like being in community with women. And it just really, like, as you said, like as soon as I released that and I set the intention, to welcome like new relationships to me, I just made so many beautiful, beautiful friendships and, business partnerships. And it was just such a life changing, like a really healing, like therapeutic experience,
So
honestly.
glad. Yes. Oh,
I'm so happy that you created the space, and I know it's just going to expand and grow bigger. And I'm really glad that it's global because that is such a powerful resource. Um,
absolutely.
yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
So thank you again, and I appreciate you joining me for this series. Much love
Sure.
to you. And if you want to tell people the ways in which to contact you, and then I'll also leave links in the video below.
So I live on Instagram, so I'm going to say that. So you could find me at the Gaby Guzman, that's GABYGUZMAN, or you can find us, the community, at lascomadres.club, CLUB.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you for tuning in today and more videos to come.
Bye.
Have a great day. Bye.